Welcome back to the Tampa Bay Rowdies podcast. We are back for another week. The Tampa Bay Rowdies are back to their winning ways. They went on the road, got a 2-0 win at Brooklyn. First time that they've played up there as we welcome Brooklyn into the USL. Russell Cicerone got back on the score sheet, which is great to see. MD Myers did his thing. He put in another goal. Defense, Jamali Waite does his thing, gets a shutout. Back to winning ways. Now we're on a mental health break. Seth, welcome out, as always, to the pod. Let's dive into the Tampa Bay Rowdies a little bit before we dive into everything else going on.
It felt like the Rowdies' big win just kind of went under the radar with everything else that's going on in the country.
So with the Rowdies everything going on during the World Cup, I think that there's a week break right now. So there's a little bit of a mental health break that they're calling it for the USL, for the Rowdies. I think it comes at the perfect time because when you're talking about everything going on in the world of soccer, those things can kind of get lost in the shuffle, but obviously we are here to keep you up to date with the things that are happening within the USL and your Tampa Bay Rowdies. And as far as the Rowdies go, I think that if you were going to lose a game throughout the course of the streak, the way that it played out couldn't have worked out any better. You lose that game, it's a tough one at home, you lose to Hartford, streak ends, but then you have that one more game on the road. You travel as a team. You had to go on that road trip. You go up to Brooklyn. I'm sure it was a great time for the group. Anytime you get to go to New York and experience New York as a team, it's a great thing. And then instead of having the bad vibes of Hartford leading into the break, you get that nice 2-0 win. So into the break, you have these good vibes going on. You're top of the table. You're sitting really pretty for the second half of the season. Get a little bit of a break, enjoy the World Cup, and then get ready to go.
Was that the kind of, would you say that was a perfect response that the Rowdies had to their loss? I mean, let me ask you maybe from Dom's perspective. Do you think Dom was happy with the way that they responded?
Absolutely, because I think that anytime you deal with a loss, you don't want one loss to become two. And for the Rowdies, I remember I was actually talking to the players beforehand. I was like, if you guys are going to lose, this is a good time to lose because now you can go on the road. Get the good mojo back, get the win back, and then you head into the break on a positive note, knowing that the second half of the season, there's a lot of big things coming up. Obviously, now you're in first place, so you have the race for winning the Shield, which wins the whole thing. You're already advanced out of the Prinks Tires Cup group, so you have the knockout stages of that coming up. They have one more to go in the group play, but that game is irrelevant for all intensive purposes. And then you're working towards the playoffs and trying to win a championship. So good timing to get the mojo back for the group. I think it was a good reset probably to lose that game to Hartford, honestly. You get that win on the road against Brooklyn, break. Now it's just once they come back, it's head down, all full steams ahead, looking to win trophies.
Can I ask what is a mental health break? What consists of that? Is that something that all the teams in the league do? Is that something that the Rowdies have kind of adopted?
No, this is a USL thing. So the USL is taking this week off. And
cool.
I've never had a mental health break per se in my career, but I would imagine it's a lot of going on vacations or, going to the beach or enjoying family. Or
I saw the guys practicing this week. I feel like they were at the stadium practicing.
So they did a couple practices this week because you can't give everybody 7 days off.
Oh, God, no. I don't think they want 7 days off.
No, that would be too much. Yeah. So you get a couple of trainings in, give yourselves the week, and then you're getting geared up for, we have a big July 4th game that's coming up. It's a big game for the team, but it's also a huge game for what we're trying to do internally as well, because that's a big push for us is 4th of July, so we're all geared up for it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's, all I don't want to say everybody's all about America right now, but everybody is all about America. Obviously, the 4th of July game is big. It was great to see Big Russ, get back in the action. I know that he was dinged up a little bit. It was nice to see MD Myers drive that PK home. Messi could not do that yesterday, so nice that MD could do it. And, yeah, just a great all-around win. And, yeah, going back on the break, and then we've got that July 4th home game to look forward to with the fireworks, and I'm sure Team USA will still be riding high, and everybody's going to have soccer fever.
Yeah, that's the plan, man. Hopefully, I think that there's a ton of buzz in this country right now for the game, more so than other World Cups because we're hosting it and people are getting to really experience firsthand. But, for that July 4th game, I'm going to sit down with Dom after we have our conversation here today, kind of like a mid-season up to speed with Dom.
Will you tell him I said hello?
Yeah, absolutely. Please. I'll let him know you said hello.
Okay.
So the interview after this, if you want to tune into that, I'm going to sit down with Dom and just kind of talk about where the team's at now, the direction that the team's headed in, kind of catch up a little bit on the first half of the season, but then also looking ahead to what's going on. So that'll be a fun interview that we have going on. But, like we said, the 4th of July game, there's a lot of different things going on. 4th of July game, it's $1 hot dogs, $3 Mick Ultras, $3 sodas and waters. We're going to be handing out thunder sticks. There's going to be fireworks over at the pier. So just a ton of stuff going on for the 4th of July that if you're looking for something to do that's a little bit different than just sitting in your neighbor's lawn and watching them blow up things, come watch a little bit of football at Al Lang Stadium as the Tampa Bay Rowdies kind of gear up for this second half push of the season.
Let the professionals handle the fireworks. No one's going to be missing a thumb or anything like that, come July 4th at the Rowdies game when they're firing off the fireworks from the pier.
Yeah, exactly. So dollar hot dogs, that'll be a good one. And yeah, so everyone's just gearing up for the second half. If you're someone that's, we like to call it soccer curious because the World Cup is going on. So if you've been soccer curious, come on down to Al Lang. Every watch party I've been to, I just tell them, support your local soccer club because that's the way the game keeps growing if you're enjoying the World Cup. And, if you're a fan that's listening to this, I encourage you to do all the same things as you're at these World Cup watch parties because it's good to get support for the Rowdies.
What do you think it is about the World Cup right now that's drawing so many people in? Do you think a big part of it is that it's happening in America? So you've got these countries that are, saw Norway took over New York, and there's Brazil, and there's, I don't know, somebody drank all the beer that they had in Boston, one of their countries. Do you think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you've got so many people coming here and so many Americans seeing the passion behind it? Also, the team's doing well. It's just kind of a culmination of everything.
I think you nailed it. I think that that's exactly what it is. And I think that, because it's in America, and we also Canada and Mexico are hosting too. And there's great stories coming out of Canada and Mexico for culture, for different countries.
Oh yeah, South Koreans and Mexicans are having babies and stuff.
The best, that's a great story as well. So it's happening throughout all three of the countries. But I think you nailed it. For me, it's, people in America are seeing how passionate Europeans, different countries, people from South America, all over the world, obviously.
The Nordic
it's the World
Row.
Cup.
Have you seen? Oh my
awesome.
God.
But people in America are seeing just the passion that this game provides for everybody else around the world. And when you're watching these different things, these different celebrations, the chants, the different countries taking over cities, it's almost impossible not to get FOMO. It's almost impossible not to feel like this is such good energy that I just have to insert myself into this world. I used to tell people all the time in the locker rooms, because I used to have a lot of foreign players or foreign coaches that were like, I want to get into American sports, but I don't even know where to start. I used to tell them all the time, I was like, the closest thing that you can compare it to is big time college football, because there's passion behind it. There's chants, there's cheering, there's songs. You live and die with your college team, no matter how old you are. And I think that the culture that you're seeing with European football and these other cultures that are coming over here and experiencing there and doing their traditions, it's the closest thing that you could find to college football in this country. And I think that if you know anything about college football and you're a diehard college football fan, you live and die for your college football team. And that's the same type of energy that you can give soccer, because that's what they do around the rest of the world.
Is there more star power in this World Cup, or does it just seem that way maybe for me paying more attention to soccer? Because I know yesterday it was Messi, it was Mbappé, it was Haaland, Ronaldo's playing today, Harry Kane's playing. It just seems like for me as a sports fan, I feel as though I've been missing out on a lot of greatness because I haven't paid attention. And now seeing these guys over here, seeing them work, seeing Mbappe and Messi and just score at will, it's just unbelievable to me to see these guys deliver like that.
I don't think that I could be way off here, but this is the first World Cup that I really remember that the star players, they're all in the Golden Boot race. All the biggest names are in the Golden Boot race. And then you talk about, you just nailed it. Messi, Mbappe, and Haaland all just played on the same day, and they all scored goals for their country. And then, Messi could have gotten another hat trick. And you're not even talking about the guys, like Yamil for Spain. He came in and started his first game. He scored within the first 10 minutes. He's 18 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say he looks pretty young.
Yeah, he's 18 years old. So, I think that the stars are scoring more in this World Cup and, really are just more prominent than they have been in other World Cups. Because, this is the first time where you really go up and down the Golden Boot race. And not only are the numbers extremely high for 2 games in, but it's literally every star player that you could possibly want to be scoring goals that's doing that. So I think that it's a combination of everything going right now for the World Cup to be hosted in America, because it's the most infectious thing going on. The star players are scoring goals. USA looks very good. And people are starting to love the game.
And everybody seems like they're having a good time. Has the USA, when they've played in other countries, have they had the kind of presence in other countries that, say, other countries have had here?
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But it could be a thing now.
Don't get me wrong. USA has great fans. They have great supports. They have the American Outlaws. They have supporters that have been with them all the time. But it never really it never really travels like this. But I also think that there's other countries that you're seeing some traditions and cheers and things that have lasted for a very, very long time. And I almost kind of relate it to, when you're talking about Tampa sports in general, right? it's still it's the idea of US soccer in terms of like being a world power and like really getting behind it and doing those things is still a young concept. The same way that like, when Tampa sports teams, like you have to grow up a Tampa sports fan because there's so many implants here that you need to keep, you
Yeah.
need to be born into it. You need to love it. You need to embrace it. And then that's kind of how it goes. I would kind of compare American soccer to that when you're talking about the world game. But yeah, so star powers are showing out. Stars are showing out. USA has done such a tremendous job, I think, of hosting it. The stadiums look incredible. I mean, everything's just been on point right for this World Cup, and it's been a good ride.
Did you have any bad flashbacks yesterday when during the France game when they had to stop it because of weather and there were guys that were squeeging the field?
Did you see the squeegees?
Yeah, and Mbappe was showing them where to squeegee, and I was like, wow, I guess if they're squeegeeing during the World Cup, maybe that's how they do it all over the place.
When I saw the squeegees come out, I was like, you know what? I didn't even see the big one. They didn't have the big mower squeegees.
No.
We had top of the line squeegees going on. Yeah, that was a serious rain delay. That didn't give me any flashbacks, but some of the cooler stuff, like, because there's moments, right, where you have moments where you're like, oh, this is cool, especially because it's hosted in America. So some of the cooler flashbacks, like seeing Azteca, knowing that I got to play a game there has been really cool. Seeing BP Place, Vancouver Stadium, Toronto Stadium, seeing those ones like CenturyLink in Seattle, the Benz in Atlanta, just seeing the stadiums that I've played in is really cool.
Boy, people are really they are really taken by SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. They're like, is this from the future? I never really thought. I don't know if I'm just spoiled just seeing all these massive stadiums and all that, but they're like, wow, this is really futuristic.
Well, I think there's like a lot of things that we're used to that like around the world it's just like, I mean, I can't even imagine what people think of Jerry Dome. Like when they walk into Jerry Dome, I haven't even seen it, and I know a bunch of guys that have been there that are like, this place is a spectacle.
Yeah.
So like I haven't even seen that, but no, I mean the one thing that is funny, like the thing that does give me flashbacks, and I actually think it's kind of cool, but I guess it would be cooler if I saved the ball as opposed to like getting scored on these people. But like I've given up goals to some people that you're seeing like on TV all the time talking about it.
Who?
Like,
Tell us.
Like Zlatan, like I've given up some braces. Like Zlatan got a brace on me.
I love that guy. I know we talked about that a long time ago on a podcast. I think I did, but when he scored on you. But man, that guy is he does not like Alexi Lalas. But
no, they don't get along.
No,
at all.
I don't know. It's on. I don't know if that's just kind of like his personality. But man, it really seems like they're getting digs at Alexi Lalas anytime they can.
But man, I got to give Alexi Lalas credit because he's staying up there and he just keeps doing his thing. And he's with two of the best players to have ever played the game in the world, and he's just up there doing his thing.
Why do you know why people turned down Alexi Lalas? Do they just not like his commentary? Because he's been in the mix for a very long time doing that.
I think he tends to rub people the wrong way.
Okay.
Yeah, he tends to rub people the wrong way. But no, so it's like, some of the stuff that's been cool, right? Like I've given up some goals to some of these players that we're seeing, and I'm just like, you know what? That's cool that they scored on me. Like Zlatan got a brace on me. Henry scored a goal on me when we played them. Like you see Wayne Rooney's name pop up, he got a brace on me. But the best player and the best story I have from getting scored on by one of these guys is this Canadian player, Alphonso Davies. Okay, so he's probably one of the best players in the world when healthy, and he plays for Bayern Munich right now. So he started his career in Canada. He was a product of the Vancouver Whitecap system. And when they knew that Alphonso Davies was going to Bayern Munich, we played against Vancouver in their like sign-off game. It was their, sending Alphonso Davies off to the promised land game in Vancouver. I was with the Portland Timbers at the time. And the way that they passed him the ball, it was like you were playing a video game. It was like one-on-one basketball. You pass him the ball, and everyone's like, all right, clear out, let him do his thing.
Oh, like Kobe's last game?
Yeah, it was exactly like that. It was like, all right, get him the ball, everybody clear out. I'm just going to try to take everybody on 1v1, 1v2. And to his credit, he had 2 goals in the first half. Like, we knew what they were doing. Yeah. It was like, pass him the ball, everyone clear out, I'm going to go. And he got 2 goals in the first half. And I'll never forget in the second half before they subbed him out, every time he got the ball, I was just back there screaming, he's not going to score a hat trick. Don't let him score the hat trick, because we're not going to be the team that gives up the hat trick.
Were you yelling that to yourself or to
everybody?
Okay,
I was like, we're not going to be the team that gives up the hat trick on this guy's send-off game. And then around like the 70-something minute or so, they subbed him out for the curtain call, and it was just like a breath of fresh air, because it was like, you knew you were going to be on MLS highlights forever if this guy scored a hat trick in his send-off game. So at least we were able to stop that.
Good. I'm glad you were content with just giving up the 2 goals.
Yeah, no, 2 is a good number.
Yeah.
That seems to be my thing, though. Like 2 versus Zlatan, 2 versus Rooney. I'm sure I've given up goals to better players. Carlos Vela, but whatever. Anyways, cool to know. It would have been cooler to save him, but still kind of cool.
I love Zlatan. I cannot say his name, Zlatan, but he is phenomenal, dude. He's been posting clips on social media of just him messing around with the ball, like in the studio, and some of the things that he can do. And his commentary, he's like, he goes, "I don't have followers, I have believers." He says these things that just really blow my mind. I don't know if he has to think about this ahead of time or if it's just all on the spot, but I think he's got a very bright future in the commentary world.
Yeah, I mean, and people love what he has to say. I think it's cool watching, to spin it a little bit as well. Like, I think it's fun watching him, the way that he compliments Messi in the terms of, like, he's pretty much, Zlatan's one of the players that's been regarded as one of the best goal scorers of all time. And the way that he talks about Messi is almost like, no, like Messi is just like at a completely different level that nobody can even touch or think about. So when you have one of the greatest complimenting somebody at such a high regard, it's pretty cool. And then, he's actually been champion U.S. soccer quite a bit because people keep asking him, hey, can U.S. actually win this game? Or can U.S. actually win this thing? And he's like, I think it's time for Americans to start believing. So whether he's pandering to the crowd or like he actually believes it, it's pretty cool to have that type of backing behind the U.S. And I think the World Cup's been awesome so far.
Can I compare some of the big players in the World Cup to the NFL world and tell me if I'm accurate right here? Do you feel like Ronaldo and Messi, it's like Peyton Manning and Brady, and then Mbappe is Patrick Mahomes?
Great.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
I was pretty proud. I was pretty proud of because Mbappe, man, that guy's unbelievable. He's coming. I mean, so it's kind of like it was like Tom Brady was the GOAT with Messi, but hey, we got a whole nother guy that's right there. So greatness is overlapping with greatness.
Who's like a second year quarterback that might be might be on like the up and up of reaching that level.
Well,
don't say Caleb Williams because I know you like the Bears.
Well, I mean, what am I supposed to say? I mean, it's a third-year guy. I mean, I'm not going to say like Jackson Dart or Cam Ward or anything like that, but I do believe that like Caleb Williams or Josh Allen, something like that. I mean, obviously Allen's established, but who are you trying to find the comparison for?
Yamil, the 18-year-old.
Oh God, yeah,
that could be Caleb Williams, maybe, but I don't know.
He's a prodigy. Like, I don't think you would have to compare him to somebody in basketball, like somebody that went straight from high school to the NBA, like a LeBron, like a Kevin Garnett, like something like that. Because to be so young, I don't even know if there's anybody you can compare him to in football. Those guys you can't get into football unless you're like 21, 22. And here at 18, he's playing at one of the highest levels.
I wonder if like you could say like Josh Allen's kind of like Erling Haaland. I like this game.
Dude, Holland is my daughter.
He's fun, isn't he?
He really seems like a great guy, and I didn't know this was his first World Cup.
Yeah, so he's getting out there and showing out. And it's cool too because the Norway team, every time you listen to him talk, they're kind of just like, we know we're not going to win this thing, but we're going to have a lot of fun in the process. And we're going to try to win as many games as we can.
Well, they interviewed Holland and they asked him about France, and he's like, we'll probably lose to them. I think he was just joking because what else is he supposed to say? But I like his personality, and it seems as though, and I'm watching everything on social media, all the clips, it seems as though he's a really well-respected guy.
Well, I think what's cool too is, and I hope this has some, like with everything, if you're a soccer person in this country, you hope that this translates to more people within the country loving the game. That's the ultimate hope. That's the ultimate goal from this World Cup. There's a lot of factors that go into that. The experience needs to be right for people. The U.S. has to have a good run, but those things are starting to stack up. So as somebody that wants to see this World Cup grow the game, I'm starting to get very optimistic that there might be some more ripple effect than we've seen in World Cups that we don't host. But you got to think about it from the player perspective as well. I mean, if Erling Haaland, Mbappe, who else did we mention? I mean, Messi's already a superstar, but like if these guys establish themselves within this country as like star power and celebrity power in the United States, that goes a long way for them as well.
It does.
You know what I mean? It's a tremendous opportunity for these guys to become household names in this country too, which I think really goes a long way to growing the game, but also goes a long way to their personal brands.
Dude, it's just exciting. Like we keep mentioning it, but you looked yesterday and you saw, all the superstars that were playing. And again, today, I think Ronaldo's playing. I mean, when you can look and you can identify that, me as somebody who's getting into soccer and you go, wow, there's an all-time great that's playing today. Those superstars, like I said, it seemed like they were more prevalent than in years before. That also draws people in. Am I going to be waking up at 3 a.m. watching Premier League stuff? I don't know. I mean, that could be what's next for me after this happens. But seeing all these amazing top-tier great players makes me not want to miss out on watching their greatness.
It's great, man. It's awesome. And then you've come a long way from the soccer world. You've come a long way in the soccer world. So hopefully people are coming along for the ride with you. All right, so things we'll catch up on before this interview with Dom. We do have a watch party. We even talked about U.S. Soccer because U.S. Soccer, they won their group play. They already advanced through. At this point, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you already knew that. But U.S. Soccer, they beat Australia.
What do you do, by the way, with this Turkey matchup? Do Do you rest guys? Do you sell your tickets if you bought them and you thought that this was going to be like a major, major important game to move on? What's the move right here if you're the coach?
I mean, I'd only sell my tickets if I could parlay it into tickets to the next one. But I think that Pochettino, I think that he's going to give certain players some rest and some time to like recover a little bit. I think it's a huge deal that Pulisic gets another game to not have to stress about getting his calf healthy. I think that that's a big deal. The one thing that I would like to see, and you see this a lot, you see other teams go the opposite direction and letting backup goalies play. But I think he has to play. I think he has to keep playing Matt Freese to see if Matt Freese can get some more reps and get some more saves in before the knockout stage. But I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in different players. Like I want to see Trusty come in at center back. He'd be a good addition to what's going on. I would love to see Berhalter and Reyna, some guys that are a little bit more creative, get those minutes and see. We're going to be trailing at some point in this World Cup. And you're going to need players that can come on the field and create things by themselves because defensively teams are going to be better than what we've faced. And those are types of guys that you want to see get some minutes and like see how creative they can be in those situations. So I do think there'll be some types of rotation. I think it'll be a heavy backup lineup, but I don't think it'll be everybody.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. And you said that you would die for the coach of USA, right?
He is amazing. I would die for him. There's so many, again, the internet, we've talked about this. The internet's the best thing right now with World Cup. There's people that are calling him pretty much a martyr in Spain because like, like they're just like, you're teaching the Americans to play. Like, what are you doing? And then I saw another thing that's like, there's the hydration breaks, which is a talking point. I don't want to dive into those because I'm not bothered by the hydration breaks as much as everybody else because it's hot outside if you haven't been outside.
It's hot and there needs to be commercials, people. That's just how the world
get
works.
Money. But there's funny, like there's one thing that was like all the Americans had to do is turn this game into 4 quarters and it became ours.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
It's so funny. But so the US is advanced. They've won their group, and the matchup for the first knockout stage looks like it could be pretty favorable, which is awesome. So they've won their group. They play Turkey on Thursday night. There's a watch party. I know there's one at Riveters, there's one at Ferg's, and then so if you guys, it's a late game, 10 p.m. kickoff. So gear up, get your kids to sleep, maybe leave the house. I don't know. That's not what I'm doing. Wink, wink. But so then 10 o'clock Thursday versus Turkey, and then the knockout stage is going to be July 1st. There's still watch party things that need to come together for that. We'll stay locked in here. But then if we focus on what's going on with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, so the watch party's on Thursday. We have July 4th game, $1 hot dogs, $3 drink or $5 drinks, and then $1 hot dogs, $5 beers, $3 sodas and water, fireworks on the pier. Come down to Al Lang Stadium. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. so that you can get in there a little bit earlier, watch the game, and then the fireworks are going to actually pop off at a respectable hour. Bring your family down, and then don't forget we also have the 5v5 tournament that you could sign up for on July 11th, which is going to be a big deal, and then you get tickets to our international soccer game that is that night against Naples.
Woo!
And then we have one more.
Yeah, what else is going on?
Rowdiesoccer.com/first match. If you've never been to a Tampa Bay Rowdies game, I'm going to say that one more time. Rowdiesoccer.com/first match. If you have never been to a Tampa Bay Rowdies game, we want to invite you to come experience a Rowdies game on us. Free ticket to a Rowdies game if you have never been to a Tampa Bay Rowdies game before, because we strongly believe that if you come down to Al Lang Stadium, you experience it once on us, that you're going to want to come back because we believe in it that much. So all it's going to be is you go to that website again. I'm going to say it again, rowdiesoccer.com/first match. You're going to fill out the form. The form then gets submitted to Ticket Ops. You'll be contacted by someone in ticketing 5 days prior to the match so that they can confirm that you've never been to a game and just to make sure that you are on the line with somebody that is making sure that you get your ticket. Again, one free ticket to the match if you have never been to the game before. Rowdiesoccer.com/first match. Fill out that form, submit the form, and then the rest will fall into place. That's how much we believe in that, and that's how much we want to get you out there to support the Tampa Bay Rowdies and everything that we have going on at Al Lang Stadium.
That's a big move. That's the right move, and that's a big move because I know it's not an easy thing to do to pull the trigger on that. But that's the best way to get people into the fold, and that's obviously why we're here. And it's great to see that the Rowdies are continuing to do whatever they can to bring people into the soccer community in Tampa Bay.
Love it, man. Shout out the leadership team for putting that together because you're right. That is a big move, and we're excited about it. So that's all the information that you need to know on what's coming up with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. A little bit of World Cup catch up, which is awesome. And then we're going to sit down with Coach Dominic Casciato to get a little bit more up to speed from his perspective. looking back at the first half of the season, but really looking ahead to what's to come, because like we said, there's a Prince Tires Cup, there's a trophy on the line there, top of the league, there's a trophy on the line there, and then of course the playoffs and then the championship. There's a lot of trophies up for grab for this Tampa Bay Rowdies team, so it should be a fun end of summer going into the end of the season.
We asked Coach Dom how much of the World Cup he's able to watch right now, knowing that he has a full-time job that's very important, but also probably something that he's very passionate about as well.
I wonder if he's going to tell the truth on that one.
Oh, yeah, he's probably not going to be like, yeah, I've been staring at it on my phone while the guys are practicing. I don't expect that. He probably was going to tell you that he catches a little bit of it at night before he goes to bed or breaks down more film.
Oh, actually, yeah, I'll ask him that. I'm also curious who he's cheering for. He has such a diverse background. I wonder who his team is. I know Italy didn't qualify, but
he might say USA because he feels pressure. So
tell
him it's okay that he can say whomever he feels like.
He can say whoever he feels like. Oh, and last thing, shout out Cape Verde, staying at our place. 2 ties. They tied Spain. They tied Uruguay. We didn't even get to that. What they're doing amazing. They represented Tampa well, and we're just happy to host them. So a lot of fun stuff going on in Tampa, soccer, and just everything going on with this World Cup and your Tampa Bay Rowdies. So dive into the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Looking forward to catching up again next week. Filling you in on everything to come. Enjoy the World Cup. Enjoy the Rowdies' little break. Enjoy the fact that the Rowdies are top of the table. Seth, you want to sign anything off? Are you good?
I just can't believe we're having full-on soccer conversations now, and I hope that I'm holding up my end of the deal.
You did a great job with the NFL comparison as well.
Thank you.
I'll give you that. I wasn't sure where they were going to go, but that was perfect.
Listen, it all comes back to the NFL. Tom Brady.
Facts. All right, so enjoy the conversation. See you all next week. Rowdiesoccer.com/first match. If you've never been to a Tampa Bay Rowdies game, I'm going to say that one more time. Rowdiesoccer.com/first match. If you have never been to a Tampa Bay Rowdies game, we want to invite you to come experience a Rowdies game on us. Free ticket to a Rowdies game if you have never been to a Tampa Bay Rowdies game before, because we strongly believe that if you come down to Al Lang Stadium, you experience it once on us, that you're going to want to come back because we believe in it that much. So all it's going to be is you go to that website again. I'm going to say it again, rowdiesoccer.com/first match. You're going to fill out the form. The form then gets submitted to Ticket Ops. You'll be contacted by someone in ticketing 5 days prior to the match so that they can confirm that you've never been to a game, and just to make sure that you are on the line with somebody that is making sure that you get your ticket. Again, one free ticket to the match if you have never been to the game before, rowdiesoccer.com/first match. All right, as promised, we are back with our interview with the head coach of your Tampa Bay Rowdies, Dominic Casciato. Coach, thank you for taking the time. I know you're a busy man.
Nah, great to be here, Jeff. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, of course, of course. So knowing that you're as busy as you are, all right, I've been just fully invested in this World Cup, but I have a little bit more free time than you do in terms of watching TV as I work. Have you been involved? Have you been watching the World Cup? Have you been able to take it in? What are some different moments that you might have been able to catch? Or is this just kind of you're not being able to see much of it because you're just busy building the machine that is the Tampa Bay Rowdies?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to be playing during the World Cup. Obviously, everyone wants to enjoy it. We've probably been able to catch probably one full game a day and then bits of the other games. So it's been really good. I think it's been a really entertaining tournament. And you and I had this morning with Cabo Verde at their training base here at our facility, and seeing those guys do so well and have a chance to go through at their first tournament is brilliant, and we're wishing them the best of luck for Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been cool because just to know that we're the home of this like miracle run and the big Cinderella story of this whole World Cup, and they're just using our facilities like it's nothing, has been pretty cool.
Yeah, brilliant, and great guys as well. Like, they're all really welcoming to us and really friendly and very grateful for our facility and the hospitality we've laid on. So kudos to Jeff Parkinson, all the guys behind the scenes that made that happen for them. And looking forward to watching that game on Friday night against Saudi Arabia. What do you think, Jeff? What's your prediction?
Man, it's hard to tell. I think that sometimes I am a little nervous just because whenever a team does really well against the teams that you don't expect them to do well against, and then you're like, oh, now it's a layup, right? Now they're going to get in for sure. Then they play that team, and it usually goes the other way. But just based off of hearing them talk to the media and stuff, they seem very, very on track, very dialed in. It doesn't seem like a lot of the outside noise has really swayed them at all. So we'll see. I think that they got another tie in them, and the way that the format's set up now, if you get 3 ties, you're pretty much into the next round. So see if they can bunker down the hatchets again and ride out for another point.
Yeah, no, it'd be great to see them get a result. I think Saudi Arabia is a game they could probably win as well. So, fingers crossed they can do it. It'd be great to see that story continue.
Yeah, it would be cool. So one of the things that I think has been so cool about this World Cup being here in the States, and I think you might feel the same way, is there's always like loose connections, right? So it's like whether you're watching the games and you're thinking, man, I played in that stadium, or I've been in that stadium, or you're watching players on the field thinking, I have a connection to this person that everybody is captivated with right now and paying attention to. Do you have any of those connections that you've been noticing throughout the course of the World Cup that are kind of like those pinch me moments that are, what's going on, and then kind of just based off the relationship you've had with soccer?
Yeah, there's a bunch. Probably the most recent one is probably with the keeper from Cabo Verde, Vicinho, because one of his best friends is Steven Dos Santos, who played for me in Omaha. And he actually sent a video congratulating Stephen on his career when he retired at the end of 2024 that I got from him. So I've never took a selfie with anyone like famous before, but he was the first one. I was like, let's take a selfie. I'll send it to Stephen. So I guess him, and seeing him do so well, I was like, wait a minute, I know this guy from somewhere. In the first game against Spain, and then watching it back, I was like, this is the guy that sent me the video for Stephen. So yeah, that's probably the biggest one and the most fresh in my mind.
That's amazing. That's pretty cool. I mean, he's like the most popular guy in the world right now.
Yeah, he went from like 5 to 5 million followers overnight or something, right? So good for him. What a nice guy as well. Was chatting with him downstairs a little bit, and he's really grateful to be here and grateful for their success. So, people like that, you want to do well, then yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And especially he's holding it down. I know that I always tell Nico every time he won't talk to me about things, I always tell him, I'm like, man, give me a trial. He thinks, oh, you're too old. But now I have all these case studies to be like, hey, listen.
That's it. There's other 40-year-olds doing it, Jeff, right? Like, yeah, are you even 40 yet? You're not 40
Not
yet,
even.
Right?
See, I'm young. I'm spry.
Oh, yeah, there's a few years left. I believe, mate. I believe. You got to convince Nico.
No, I appreciate that. Do you have any ties? Have you ever had any type of relationship with anyone within the U.S. organization, within the U.S. team at all?
So I coached Diego Luna a little bit when I was in El Paso. I was an assistant when Diego broke through. Disappointed that he wasn't able to make the squad this year. Matt Turner, again, was with Jersey Express when I was an assistant coach there. Trying to think who else is on the team. Obviously, we got to meet Mauricio Pochettino and Jesus Perez and the rest of his staff when they came here in November, and those guys were just incredible. They treated us like brothers, So seeing the US do so well is just brilliant, and I think getting all the fans behind them and seeing the momentum that's kind of carrying the team right now, I think is really wonderful. That's what a World Cup is all about, right? Especially on home soil. So yeah, I guess kind of loosely, yeah. Mauricio was like kind enough to give us his number when he left here, and we texted him good luck and things like that. So hope they can do well.
That's cool, man. So what's kind of your takeaway from him as a coach, or the things you've been able to see? Because I think in the build up to the World Cup with the U.S., the results were pretty mixed, and it was kind of like you don't really know what to expect. And I'm a guy, I work in content, so I'm a sucker for a good hype video. But I've been watching, their documentary on HBO, and just the messages he's relaying, the way that he's able to, he's very transparent about the idea. It's like, I'm not American, but I'm going to give you all that I have, and I'm very invested in this. And you can just tell that his playing experience and just his experience as a coach has really rubbed off on this team. Just curious of your takeaways of the time that you got to meet him, and, if you ever talked any philosophies with him.
Yeah, it's funny. Obviously, we didn't spend a ton of time together. I actually didn't know there was a documentary on HBO about the team. I would love to watch.
You got to check it out, man. I'm hooked.
Yeah, I would be as well. I love that stuff, especially Pochettino. I think he's a great coach and has done great things everywhere he's been. I think the big thing for me is like when he met myself and the rest of the staff, he treated us like we were part of his team, like we were long lost friends. And for someone who's coached the players he's coached, who's worked at the level he's worked at, that's pretty incredible, right? You don't expect that from somebody that has been where he's been. He was a great player as well, played for Argentina for a number of years. So I think just that, just being down to earth, being humble and making people feel special is I don't know the guy very well, but from my interactions with him, which were super limited, it was like, wow, like he really made everyone feel very important and special and had time for everybody. And I think there's a lot to be said for that.
As a head coach, when you meet somebody like that, understanding the pedigree, is that something that you try to take from? You know what I mean? You recognize that, you notice that, and then it's something that you could try to apply to the way that you operate your team, or just the way that you're interacting with people that might come in, because we have that same experience, right? There's youth coaches that'll come in. There's people from all different levels that'll come in. Is that something that you try to take as well when you're meeting people like this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like to think I'm kind of that way inclined myself. I don't come from the biggest playing background. I kind of started from nowhere as a coach. So when people do come in that want to learn, like that was me. 10 years ago, right? 15 years ago, whatever it is. I remember guys that you played for in Portland, right? With Carlos and Gio. I remember going to watch their training sessions as a young coach, and those guys kind of rolling the red carpet out for me. So those things have stayed with me. I try and do that for the people that want to come and visit us and watch what we're doing. And I think it's the only way to be. I don't think anyone likes people that walking around thinking they have all the answers and don't have time for anybody. I think the challenge in coaching is that there's so much to do now, right? Like you have so much video to get through. There's so many things, so many commitments that you have. It's just trying to make sure that you're present and you're enjoying the moments that you do have, rather than just thinking about, all right, what's next on my to-do list? Because then you can maybe lose sight of the people that want to come and visit and spend time with you.
Well, that's why you got to have a good staff, right? You lean on your staff a little bit when you're in the trenches of doing all the head coach work that isn't involved with soccer at all.
Yeah, that's why we got JP. That's why JP's the best.
JP, the legend. He's getting on the podcast too sometime. We're gonna have a real fun conversation about when he and I used to hang out at the combines that we met each other at.
Yeah, you got to get JP on it. He's got a lot of great things to say, and he's a great guy. Got great experiences in the game in this country. So, experience with things overseas as well. We were speaking to a guy earlier, a Portuguese journalist that's following Cabo Verde, and John's been over to Portugal to study, and is always, despite all of his experience, always looking to get better and looking to improve. And I think that's a really admirable quality of his.
Yeah, no, it's great. He's an all-timer. I can't wait to introduce the fans to JP a little bit more. So diving in now, obviously, like I'm calling it the midway point of the season. It's the mental health break week of the season, so that seems like a good thing to call it, as the midway point of the season. The team up to this point has had a lot of success, right? I'm not sure. Obviously, you want to be perfect in every game that you play, but I think that if you were to be in front of the season and say, hey, at this date, we're going to have this record, there's going to be one loss, we're going to be in this position, a lot of people would take that probably 10 times out of 10. So curious, as we're building up towards making the push towards the end of the season, what are kind of your main takeaways that you've learned about this group from that first half? And not necessarily the things that are like extremely positive, right? Because the record's positive, the defense has been playing extremely well, but just as a cohesive unit of a group, what are kind of the main takeaways from the team that you were able to put together? Because I don't know that anybody expected it to have these results as quickly as it has.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, just the willingness of the guys to kind of buy into what we were asking to do. I think that's probably at the heart of having a good first half of the season. I think without that openness from the guys to be coached to do things in the way that we were trying to do it, I don't think any of the early success that we've had would be possible. I think the group has impressed me in their ability to take on that information, but then also like to play their way too. And I think now that the team is a little bit more settled and, guys are a little bit more familiar with us, with, the stadium, with the training ground, with living in Tampa. Because you've got to think it wasn't 5 or 6 new guys getting acclimatized to that. It was basically the whole team, right? It was 21 guys. So the fact that we had decent results and decent performances in the first half of the season, that surprised me, right? I expected there to be a few more bumps than we've had in terms of results and performances, but that might come in the second half of the season as well, right? Like those bumps may come then, and if they do come, I think for us it's about staying true to our process and making sure that we're trying to stay present and in the moment, like I was mentioning earlier, just focusing on one day at a time. And if you do that, you try and do good work and you're good to people, then I think generally you kind of end up where you're supposed to be. So I think kind of the humility of the group to, one, be open to being coached, and then two, more or less everybody that was here could be starting somewhere in the league, and there's guys that are not starting here, right? There's guys that are left out of the team here. And I think the ability of the group to buy into the message that everyone's responsible for our success, from me and you, Jeff, to the cleaners here, to the guy that plays the most minutes, the guy that plays the least minutes. I think if everybody understands they've got that responsibility to make us as strong as possible, and they really buy into that, then I think we can do some incredible things together in the second half of the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been fun to watch, and even going out to training, the amount of people that are smiling, and it's 110 degrees outside and people still have smiles on their face. just goes a long way talking about the group of guys and what type of people you have on the roster. So for me, I was kind of waiting for this moment to happen. I know that you might not like hearing this from somebody that is a Tampa Bay Rowdies supporter, right? Like a guy that's really behind the club. But I always thought, at least when I was playing, that when you go on streaks, right? When you go on these positive streaks, everything kind of is going your way. Like there's moments where things are clicking, the soccer gods, so to speak, the ball's going in the net. Sometimes their shots aren't going in the net and things are going your way. And I've just been waiting to see when the team kind of got punched in the face and what the response was going to be when things weren't going perfect. So even though it probably wasn't your most favorite week of the season, the game versus Charleston, where you needed to score the late equalizer to keep the streak alive, and then the ensuing loss to Hartford on the weekend, followed by the response that came in Brooklyn. For me, that was the most telling part of this first half of the season, because I was just waiting to see how the team responded when they got punched in the face. Charleston, it was a good response getting that goal back. Hartford was a tough game. We talked about how they played so defensively. But then to go into Hartford knowing that you had this game at Brooklyn with a break coming up, for me, that was the biggest response that I've seen, because you want to be going into this break with a big chunk of time to have good feelings, and then you come back and gear up for the second half. Are there moments throughout the course of the season that you've kind of stepped back and been like, oh, this was a pivotal part of this streak. This was a pivotal part where I learned a lot of things about my team that I might not have known?
Yeah, there's a couple, Jeff. That's a really good question. I think both Charleston's games have taught us a lot about the group and about where we're at and about ourselves. The first Charleston game, we went there and I think we weren't great that day. When they came back to us, I thought we were very good in the first half, probably could have had a couple of goals rather than just one. And in the second half, we kind of stopped doing the things that made us successful in the first half, and they got on top a little bit. And that was actually the first time all season that we'd been down in a game. Mm-hmm. And same as you, right? Like that was a big question I had in my head. Like, all right, well, this is going to happen at some point. All right, now it's happened. How are we going to respond? And I thought the response to going a goal down was outstanding from the guys. Now, the message I'm giving the team is, all right, how do we put ourselves in a position where we don't go down? And that would have been playing the second half with the same mentality, the same intensity, and the same game plan as we played it in the first half. So then going into Hartford, I think there was a little bit of a hangover from that Wednesday night. If you remember, the pitch was super heavy after all the rain that you guys had to clear off of it.
Yeah, I was still hungover from Wednesday for different reasons. For different reasons than you guys, but
I can imagine. I won't ask about that, Jeff. But they like emotionally, right? The game was delayed a couple of hours. The game against a good opponent, we were going toe to toe in the second half. There at the end, we find that with the late tying goal, and now all of a sudden you got to go, all right, we've got to do this again on Saturday. And I think there was maybe a little bit of a come down in terms of the emotional load, like physically what we put out in the game on Wednesday, where we weren't quite at our best. Right, we probably still did enough to win the Hartford game, but they defended really well. Their keeper made some great saves. We were a little bit wasteful in front of goal, and then you end up losing that game when you're knocking on the door basically for 90 minutes, and you think, okay, like, how do we respond now? And I think the response in Brooklyn was really positive. I think coming out, being on the front foot on a tough pitch to play on, right, a difficult turf pitch, difficult environment to play in. Brooklyn were in a good run of form up until that point, so to go there and play the way we did, and then manage the game once we went 2-0 up, to manage the game in a way that we did in the second half, I was really pleased with the guys. But I also think in the first half, after scoring that first goal, it was bang, we went and got another one straight away. And I think if that can be our response, we can start to be more clinical and a little bit more ruthless, then I think this team can find a new level and a few more gears to slip through.
I think that's been one of the things you kind of touched on there that's been pretty impressive about the group, is they've been able to ride out when they get that lead. Right? There hasn't been a ton of moments where you get a 2-0 lead, and how many times in the game do you see the other team score and then momentum swings, and then it's you're dealing with something completely different than you should be dealing with. But the team's done such a good job of making sure that they keep those shutouts. And, there haven't been a ton of those moments, which I think has been pretty impressive. So going back until this last kind of question about the first half of the season, there's been a lot of success. You're a perfectionist, so that I've gotten to know you a little bit more when it comes to games. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the first half of the season? And within that, what are things that you would like to see the improvements as we go forward, because there's so much in front of this group?
Yes, it's another good question. Look, again, I think if you would have said to us before the season, all right, like you can be in this position, top of the league with a gap and, X amount of wins, whatever. Of course, you would have bit your hand off. I'd probably say an 8 out of 10 because we're right where we'd want to be, but there's certainly things that we can improve on, right? We can be a little bit more clinical. We can understand how to ride out difficult moments in games. The half of the game taught us a lesson in terms of, all right, how do we break down a low block? If we go behind early and the team wants to sit in, what are the solutions that we can find? So I think they're all things that we're looking forward to tackling going into the second half of the season. And again, I think this team has a long way to go in terms of how much more we can improve.
Do you think that you expect to see teams talking about the second half of the season now that there's a lot of tape on the group and people have a better understanding of how the team is? Do you think that there are a lot of teams that are going to make those type of adjustments?
Maybe. I'm sure there's going to be some. I'm sure there's going to be some that want to come and kind of do what Hartford did, which is be really organised defensively and defend their box well. And to me, that's a compliment, right? Of teams that come into our Lang and doing that. I think that's a real compliment for the start to the season we've had. And then my challenge and the challenge for the team and the players is going to be, all right, like how do we find the solutions to that? So it's one that I'm really looking forward to. I think it's a great challenge, and if teams start doing that, it'll just make us better.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking ahead to the second half of the season, we talked a little bit about areas in which you want to see improvement, but for me, I think it's pretty awesome and fun for the fans and everybody involved in the organization that this team has possibly everything in front of them to play for. You're in a position to advance. You've already advanced out of the Prinks Tires Cups. You're in a position where you're going to be in knockout stages. Is there top of the table in terms of standings, and then of course, way down the road, I know you don't even want to talk about it, but there's players and there's championships. And I think for me, what is the main focus from you from a coaching side to make sure that the group stays engaged, because it is a long season, we're in the dog days of summer, and what's the main focus on you to make sure that the group stays engaged and continues to improve and have that one game mentality with everything in front of them?
Yeah, I think it comes from myself and the rest of the staff, just focusing on one day at a time and making sure the guys understand that for every day we have together, there's consequences, right? And those consequences can be positive or they can be negative. So if we all come in and we're all committed and we're all giving our best in a training session, and then the next training session and the training session after that, then the game at the weekend, probably got a really good chance to win that. Now, if we start to think we can take training sessions off and guys are not quite giving 100%, certain guys think that their spot on the team is secured, then that's when you start to drop points. So our focus will be on just making sure when we come back from this break that we have a great first training session. And then once we're done with that one, we'll be having another great training session as we prepare for Lexington. And I think if that's our approach and we just kind of focus on what's in front of us, then everything else will take care of itself. I think when you slip up in this game is when you start to think too far ahead. And when you do that, you lose sight of what's right in front of you and you slip up. So that'll be our approach. That's always been my approach. That's served me pretty well in my career, and I don't really see that changing.
All right, so those are all serious questions, a couple fun questions. I'm always curious for coaches, when there's a break like this, do you know where the guys go, or do you just hope for the best?
Yeah, I don't think any of them are going on benders in Vegas. At least I hope they're not. I spoke with everyone.
I never did that as a player. Wink.
Yeah,
wink.
right, Jeff. Yeah. No, I spoke with everyone before they left. We had like little one-on-one meetings just to check in, do what we're doing, right? Like recap the first half of the season from a team and individual level. And then kind of figured out where everyone was going. There's a bunch of guys that are staying in town, a bunch of guys going home, a few of them, going to see other things. I think Matthias is going to try and get to the Brazil v Scotland game tonight. I think Matthias and Pedro are going there. So, they're all doing different things. Look, I think it's really important, Jeff, that we understand like the players are people first and they need time to switch off just as much as we do and, everyone else. So, I don't want to bother them too much while they're away.
Yeah, no, these breaks do go a long way in terms of just keeping your sanity and moving on to the next half of the season. But everybody, at least in my experience, everybody handles these breaks very differently in terms of what they want to do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it's always curious. Social media goes a little bit more quiet from the players during these weeks. So curious if you had an idea what was going on. So speaking on just the experience and things looking forward, is there anything, I spent that Wednesday night with the fans. I was in the mix. with Scouty Casuals, Rouse Mob, Tarps Off. I did the whole song and dance. Is there anything from the fans that, really you feel like impacts the play on the field in terms of, the noise level, the certain cheers, or anything that we could tell the fans that, hey, this is something that we really want to get behind and we love it when this happens?
Yeah, we love when the crowd are bouncing. I think there was a moment a couple of weeks ago where there was a bunch of guys in the corner. They had their shirts off and swinging their shirts around, right? Like, that was amazing. I think you were in there, Jeff. I think I remember seeing you in there with them.
Yeah, listen, I lose my mind every now and then.
No, it's good. You got to do it. You got to do it. So I think when we see things like that, I think when the crowd are super loud and Ao Lang is packed, there's nothing better. And I guess one thing I'd maybe like to hear on a personal level is just maybe one or two more songs for either the team in general or some of the players, because I think they deserve it. I think that would give everyone a lift. So if the fans want to start working on something like that, it would be appreciated by all of us.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll get on that. We'll start making some mixes.
Nice.
So you're a fan of the shirts off. Last question for you. Maybe we could clip this and use it as motivation. Fast forward, just pretend. All right, Rowdies are lifting a trophy at Ao Lang Stadium. I know JP would do this without needing to happen, so I'm going to ask you: Will the tarp come off for the fans?
No problem. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All right. So there's some extra motivation.
I want the songs, Jeff. I need the songs. If I don't get the songs, then no.
Okay.
Deal.
So all right. So for the tarp to come off, we need trophy, songs, shirt off, head coach.
Sure.
All right. There's the equation. 1 + 1 = 2.
All right,
awesome, man. Well, no, I appreciate the time, and any time that we're talking with somebody within the team, it's do you have any messages just for the fans, for people that you're thinking about, hey, come on down to Ao Lang Stadium while you're watching the World Cup, because we have a very good product going on here as well. So is there just any lasting message you have for the fans or people that might want to know a little bit more about what this team is and what they have going on?
Yeah, this is a team, Jeff, you've seen it, that is going to make the whole community here proud of them. And I think it's a team that deserves to get more fans, to get the community behind them even more than they have done. The fans that do show up to our games, they're brilliant, they're loud, they're into it, they're energetic. It's a great place to spend a Saturday night with your friends, with your family, whoever you want to bring out. So my advice would be get yourself out to a game. It's in one of the most beautiful settings in the world to watch a game. We're very, very lucky to play there, and I think the people in this community are lucky to have this team and everything that goes with it. So come and enjoy it.
Awesome, man. All right, Coach, I appreciate the time. You enjoy this off week as well. If you're taking any days off, maybe watch a couple of these World Cup games.
Top man, Jeff.
All right, talk to you later, Coach.